whenever you set a goal to meet new people, do you take the time to really thoroughly, I'm talking about thoroughly, evaluate that person before you decide to further associate with that person? Well, I'm gonna tell you something. Most people usually don't. And what happens is that they get caught in a good conversation with that person. They laugh at their jokes, they share common interests, only to find out that later on that they turn out to be the wrong kind of people that they wanted to associate with or they wanted to date because they're toxic. And you overlook those red flags. So this video is about 3 important red flags that you should never overlook. So that way you can decide on whether or not you want to continue to associate with that person. Now, the first red flag is what I like to call drifters. All right. Drifters are the kind of people who have no sense of direction in life. And when they have no sense of direction, they don't know who they are. They're not keeping themselves busy and going something, no goals. Then they have a tendency of being very much unhappy people to be around. And you have to understand that real happiness means that you see the value in who you are as a person. You see value in who you are and you're expressing who you are. That's real happiness. So when you have goals, you have a chance to, on an often basis, to express your inner qualities, no matter what it is you're doing. And whereas you have drifters who, since they have nothing going for themselves and they're simply unhappy, then these kinds of people could become other kinds of people. They could become very needy and codependent. And what I mean by this is that when they're needy and codependent, they got to count on you for everything. They got to count on you to always be there for them. And they can also become emotional vampires. You know, they're constantly talking to you and complaining over and over and over again about their problems. And at the same time, that's keeping you from staying active because you're spending too much time with these kinds of people. And not to mention haters. I mean, they could become jealous haters. So if you're happy, if you're the kind of person who's satisfied with who you are and you have a lot of good things going for yourself and you're successful in your own way, whatever success means to you, then these people can become very jealous of you. And once they become jealous of you, that can cause them to put you down. That can cause them to try to downgrade your efforts in any kind of way. So all this conflict between you and that person because this person doesn't have nothing going for themselves. Now, the second red flag is chronic fault finders. All right. These are the kind of people who see fault in everything and everyone around them. These are the ones who always have something bad to say about somebody else. You might find these kinds of people when you're hanging out with them, they always have something negative to say about people. And it's always something bad about people. Now, generally, if you want to get along well with people, then ideally you want to focus on what's good about that person. You want to focus on that person's strengths. That's how you make friends. That's how you make and keep friends because you're focused on more on what's good about that person. I mean, everybody has flaws and sometimes you might have to point out those flaws in other people. But if you find somebody that's always pointing out more flaws than somebody else, more so than that person's strengths, then they're chronic fault finders. And don't think because you and that person are dating or you and that person are just simply friends hanging out, don't think they're not going to do the same thing to you because, I mean, that's just how they are. I mean, when they're chronic fault finders, then it's going to be a matter of time before they start seeing, telling you what's wrong with you. And once they start doing it, if they don't do it to your face, and I guarantee it, at some point, they're going to start putting you down behind your back because, again, that's how they are. They're chronic fault finders. So it doesn't make a difference if, no matter how close you are to this person. So make sure you keep a lookout for people like that who tends to badmouth other people. Now, the last red flag is somebody who's simply rude and disrespectful towards other people. All right. So if you see somebody, you could judge somebody how they treat other people. If they're putting other people down, insulting them, then again, just like with the chronic fault finders, very similar, then it's going to be a matter of time before they start doing the same thing to you. That is, if you say the wrong thing to this person. And a toxic person, they're very sensitive to any kind of criticism or anything that you might say to these people that might damage their ego in any kind of way. So since they're rude and disrespectful to other people, then like I said, it's going to be a matter of time before they start doing that to you. You might find yourself getting into all kinds of arguments with this person in the long run. Now, these red flags, once again, watch out for the drifters, the chronic fault finders, and the ones who are simply rude and disrespectful towards others. I wouldn't encourage you to hang out with these kinds of people unless of course you come across somebody who's willing to change, who's willing to improve themselves. If that's the case, then I would say I would encourage you to go ahead and just associate with that person, because you never know, that person might want to turn their life around. And if you can see that they're putting effort every day in doing just that, they want to turn their life around, then why not? But with these red flags right here, make sure you look out for these red flags, because you can always catch the signs early. The more early you catch these signs, then the less stress that you got to deal with in the long run. And that'll give you a chance, an opportunity to meet other people who are the exact opposite of these kinds of toxic people. I mean, you want to associate with people who feel good about themselves, because with these red flags I mentioned, that's tied into low self-esteem. And you don't want to spend too much time hanging out with people with low self-esteem, because they're going to just end up bringing you down too in that process. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed it, just hit the thumbs up, like, and by all means, subscribe to this channel, because I do put out content on a weekly basis. So thanks for watching this video, and I will talk to you next time around.